Valentine's Love Bloom, Episode 1 of 2, by the Tailor of Love, a StoryDoves Romantics production. Part 1. Valentine's Day is in 14 days' time. This man picks 7 flowers. He plants them at the end of each of the 7 rays of the rainbow. The 7 colors from the rainbow fills each of the 7 flower cups with its color. The 7 rays are sucked into the 7 flowers with 7 long slurps. The petals wipe their lips in satisfaction. The man now gathers these 7 flowers. He picks up a large chrysalis shell of a butterfly, and he plants the flowers into it as a bouquet. The petals of each flower now shape and remold until each petal looks like the eyelashes of a butterflied angel. He smiles into the eyes of the flowers as he hides them in her room for 7 nights. It must be 7 nights to allow every petal to marinate in her dreams. After a week of dreams, he takes the bouquet to his study for 7 days. They now soak in his daydreams about her. He also plays 7 classical romantic pieces throughout each of the 7 days on vinyl. He plays Liszt's Liebestraum in red, Piazzolla's Libertango in orange, Bach's BWV 1068 in yellow. The musical composition of each piece now scents the flowers in classical music. "Chocolate, the color of my eyes, please," he tells his local chocolate maker. The skilled lady makes chocolate the color of his eyes run like a waterfall into each petal cup of the 7 flowers. It's ready. Part 2. It is Valentine's Day. The man gives her the 7 flowers wrapped in the chrysalis of a living butterfly. Each flower cup is filled with running chocolate formed from the desire in his eyes for her. As she gazes into the chocolate of the first flower, she feels drawn to kiss it and drink. She does. The flavors blush down the vine of her throat, pressing out a warm swell through the orchard of her bloodstreams, releasing into a sweat of wine. With her eyes now closed, her deep exhales nourish a new scene around her. She opens her eyes tonight. Her and her man are in an aquarium, picnicking under a shark tunnel. Only, instead of fish, there are their future descendants as babies of light. Dolphin toddlers, seahorse teenagers, and, for those of their descendants who would become great, they are represented as whales. Just then, a shadow larger than all others moves over them in the shark tunnel, and the atmosphere begins to fill with the melody of Liszt's Liebestraum. The sounds come from a large manta ray made of red ocean light above them. It swims down through the aquarium's glass, and it comes to rest between her and her man as a floating picnic table. With her eyes bright, she looks at her man and says, "You're amazing." He takes her hand and he stares slowly at her as he places her palm on the manta ray table. "Ooh," she says, as her hand jumps back up to her chest. "Yes, now we can feel each other's heartbeats against our own hearts," he explains. Each beat of his love for her tickles upon her lips, flirts along the hairs of her neck, and reaches the top with a peck on her cheek. The manta ray blows up a fountain of champagne, like water from a whale's blowhole. 2 steaming lobsters slowly rise from the spicy sands of its skin, and the couple dine below the shark tunnel to Lieberstrom, amongst the nights of their future descendants. Part 3. It's March 14th, 1 month's Valentine's anniversary. Our couple sit in an empty theatre. "Dance with me," he says to her. She yields as they walk to the iris of the stage. He strokes the blush of her cheek down through to the safety of her palm, and she tingles into an ice sculpture. He taps his heel. The stage ripples out into sparkling water with 5 floating coasters. He whispers into her frozen ear, "Now for our margarita dance. You are the ice." The warmth of his breath melts 2 drops of water onto her earlobes for earrings. Play. An accordion appears above them, playing Piazzolla's Libertango. 2 oranges beneath the accordion squeeze out their juice over her. He pirouettes her at pace. The juice is expanding around her, like pizza dough in an Italian baker's hand, to form a dress of orange juice on her. Together, they step to the next coaster. The stomp of their dance bruises the fallen orange peels into lime-high heels for her feet. They dance to the next coaster, and he dips her bold sculpt into the sparkling water. Her hair is now a waterfall of sparkling water. He cuts her sparkling water hair at length with a glissandi slide. The couple waltz to coaster 4, and he has a bird of paradise flower between his teeth. He takes it and plants its stem into her exposed navel. After he swivels her, he pulls the flower out of her belly button, and it births a triplet of flowers for her ear, his bite, and the third to stir her dress ripe. Together they drive to the last coaster, and he kisses her lips sweet before blowing the petals of the flower towards her into sugar to gloss her aura. The dance slams to a stop. The crevice of her spine against the breathing sternum of his power. The margarita is complete, he tells her. With those words, she souffles back from ice to flesh. They are both breathing heavy. "Well, do I taste as good as I look?" she asks. Let's find out. Part 4. April 14th, their 2-month Valentine's anniversary. The couple in love sit in her green garden. He holds a primrose yellow bottle of wine. On its label, it reads, Barks BWV 1068. Pop! And it all flows out of the bottle, the history, the scene, and all the sounds of Barks BWV 1068 serenading the air. After they both taste its symphony, he begins to read aloud from her favorite historical encyclopedia. As he speaks, his words shape into a speech bubble the size of a horse carriage. The speech bubble carriage has pocket watch wheels for time travel. When he finishes reading out loud, he folds the sheets of the book into origami horses. The horses begin to flap to life size, ready to run the carriage into history. He sits his fair lady inside the carriage. The music of 1068 weaves a period dress over her. She looks out of one window of the carriage, and she sees gladiatorial Rome painted in the style of Caravaggio. And then, in they went, the horse running into the pages of history as they time travel. They stop off in ancient Rome and go to a Roman bath. He gives her a fragrant massage before returning her to the carriage relaxed. The horses run again to ancient Greece, painted in the style of Titian. Our couple spend the evening listening to the greatest poets of the day. Each poet makes her the center of their sultry speeches. Afterwards, they enjoyed the Olympic sports of Athens whilst eating olives. When they finish dining, the galloping horses of origami scribble them into the Dickensian Victorian period. Her man is now in a top hat and tails. They have dinner with David Copperfield from her beloved book. Later, she gives shillings to the Artful Dodger so he wouldn't steal that day. No one could do this for me, she says. For you, I could, because I love you, he tells her. She smiles and points to her naked fourth finger. They laugh. He points upwards. Look up, he says. She looks. There was a painting of Eden by Michelangelo upon the cloudy ceiling of their carriage. Let's go. I want to ask God about you, he says. End of episode 1 of 2 by the Tailor of Love. A StoryDoves Romantics production.